Welcome back from Pro Duty's Trip. Doing another episode of The Walking Dead, Dead City. I think I'm going to start calling this Spoiler Corner. I'm just going to sit in a corner and just talk about whatever it is I'm going to review. And I think spoiler time, maybe I'll change it to something else, like I said. So with me today, I have the wonderful Rainbow Dash. It's going to protect me from the zombies. We also have Daisy Duck and Minnie Mouse. Yay! So they're going to keep me safe from all the zombies and stuff. So yeah. So again, spoiler alert. We are now on episode 3 of The Walking Dead, Dead City, titled Humans Are a Resource. Yeah. So, well, where we left off from the last episode, Ginny decided that she wants to leave Hilltop. I don't know why. Again, she's not talking. So she steals a bike and ends up going to where I don't even think she knows where Negan is. Yet somehow she is able to find him or go to where he is. I don't know how this works. I don't think she knew where he was going unless she maybe overheard Maggie and him talking about where they were going to go. But for the most part, I don't think she does know. And somehow she ends up going to the same dock that they started out from. And she finds like a cooler or something, like you would keep sodas and stuff in, and she's able to fit in it. She's small enough, and she gets into it and swims or rows herself to Manhattan. And I'm like, wait a minute. The first episode showed there were zombies in the water, so maybe she's gonna encounter that or something, or maybe it's gonna flip over. She's gonna swim, some kind of tension or whatever. No, she just gets into it and paddles herself all the way over to Manhattan. I'm not exactly sure how far that is, too, because they had to take a speedboat, or Maggie and Negan had to take a speedboat. But no, she got into her cooler and just rows it away. So I'm like, okay. I'll let that go, right? I'll just hop on Rainbow Dash and I'll fly over there myself. So she goes over there. You get a little bit more backstory with her, too. Apparently she has like a stuffed dinosaur that she really, really likes, and she lost it, and Negan found it, and he's still mad at her because she's not talking, but he tells her that if you whistle, I'll come running. I'll make sure to be there for you and stuff, and it was a little flashback, which was nice. They're starting to do some of those, but for the most part, for the rest of the stuff, you have to really pay attention because they just talk about things in the background. It really is weird. So Maggie and Negan, they're with the Resistance still. They help them catch a deer. They help them plan to break into, it looks like it's Rockefeller Center, if I'm not mistaken. They never say what it is. They just know that it's this big arena in Manhattan, and they, Croat and his team, they have been herding zombies, I guess, to that point. I don't know why. You figured he'd lure them someplace else away from his place. Not sure. So, they come up with this plan. They're going to break in, and someone, I guess, escaped, so they're going to try to use his plan that he escaped from and try to go back in. There's one guy, his name is Luther, really, really big guy, probably as tall as I am, and he's a side character. He's not one of the main Resistance guys, but he's telling him, I don't like this plan. This is stupid. I don't want you guys, doing this. And he and Negan get into like this arguing. He's like, I want you gone. I don't want you here. And Negan's just like, whoa, man, let's calm down. I don't want to have to do anything to you. I'm just here to help Maggie. And Luther just gets into his face. He's like, no, I want you gone. So leave. And Negan gets in his face like, look, we're going to have we don't need to get into this. Let's just calm down. And again, Luther just gets up his face. I don't like you. And so Negan's like, all right, let's do this. So I'm like, all right, there's going to be this big fight scene, and there's going to be a lot of gore. And I was like, no, it was over in like 2 seconds. Luther picks up Negan and just like crushes him like, Negan's like, takes a cheese grater and scrapes the guy's forehead, which I thought was really cool. the guy falls down, and of course he falls onto something sharp, and his head gets impaled on it, and you're just like, fight's over? No, I want Negan to go full Negan and, bash the guy's head in with something or whatever, but no, he just falls over and timber, and I'm like, fight's over? Really? All right, so that guy's dead. Yeah. Back at Crow 8's place, he's got the marshal not tied up, but he's got him chained up, and he starts talking to him. He says, again, if you're paying attention to it, you get it, but if you blink or if you don't pay attention to this part, it kind of just goes out the window. And Crow 8 says, he was a scientist, and so when all all this zombie stuff started, he said, I started to think about what do we need, So I found out that I can use humans. See, the humans are zombies as a power source. And so he's been sticking, earlier in the scene too, you actually see him as a couple of the guys, they're coming from, I guess, whatever they're getting from outside, they're bringing it in, and you see a bunch of these weird containers or jars, they're getting big jars, and they're sticking people in them, or zombies or whatever. And somehow they're able to use the natural gases in people or whatever to fuel the city or something, whatever. Again, if you're not paying attention to it, you're really going to just miss it. But he's saying that that's what he's using as this resource, is, humans, zombies, whatever. And he's able to keep the place going with power and stuff or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, kind of reminds me of like in the Matrix when the machine said that they turned all humans into batteries so they could keep their, once the sun was out, they couldn't use the sun anymore, solar power, so they started using humans and electricity and humans to keep power going and stuff or whatever. It's, again, another weird thing, just, again, science, sci-fi. I don't even know if it's possible to do that in real life or anything like that, so I'm not even going to try to explain to you scientific things or whatever. There's not a whole lot that goes on in this episode. The marshal, I say the marshal because I don't even think he has a name. He's just a guy that's, still trying to find, who's just chasing down Negan, but gets kidnapped by Crow 8. So the Crow guy, he's like, hey, I got this meat for you if you want to eat something. And so he cuts open a piece of it and finds out it's all tainted and it's got worms and stuff in it. And so he grabs the guy that was serving him. He goes, you were going to give me that? He goes, well, I didn't cook it or anything. And so he grabs the guy and he takes the key that's supposed to be, I guess, the key to the marshal's chains. He takes the key, shoves it, or tells the guy to swallow it. And then he takes the guy's head and bashes it in and throws him over into the arena. So you're just like, okay. And then Crow 8 later says, I guess he's testing Marshall to see, why because he still doesn't know why Marshall's here. Marshall's not answering him. And so he has everyone in his, I don't know, call it organization or whatever, Crow 8 people or whatever. So they're all gathered around, and, Marshall's still chained up into a pole or whatever. And sure enough, here comes that zombie of the guy that swallowed the key. And Marshall, he, gets behind him with his cuffs, or with his thing he's chained to, and he just just pops off the zombie's head, and then he cuts open him and takes the key out and unhooks himself, and you figured, oh no, he can escape or whatever. No, Craig's like, well, good for you. Now we can talk. So he says, why are you here? And he goes, I'm chasing a guy named Negan. And so as soon as he said that name, Craig just looks at him like, ooh. And that kind of how it just ends with Crow 8 just like, looking at him like that, like Negan. So getting it all set up for, I guess, the next episode. Back over with the Maggie and Negan and the Resistance. You actually do get some backstory again about Negan, finally, about his wife and his kid. Again, it doesn't say how many years have passed or how long it's been since the end of the Walking Dead show. So he just says a while ago. Again, it's all talked about in backstory. It's never, they don't do like a flashback or anything. So he's just telling Maggie, he's like, yeah, my wife and my kid, they were attacked by some guys, and, my wife told me, she goes, don't do anything stupid. And you know me, I went and I took down him. There's about 5 of them, and he went all full Negan on them, and he said that he sent them away, like to Missouri or something. Again, if you blink or if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it. He says he sent them to Missouri or whatever, and he goes, I really miss them, and hopefully I'll see them again. So they're alive, just he sent them away. I don't know if he was afraid that some of these guys might come back or whatever, or maybe the fact that since he killed these guys, that's why the marshals are after him. They never really explained that part either, of why the marshals are after Negan. Again, don't know how long it's been since the last, how many years or whatever. This is actually, again, the first time you hear about Negan's family, because we're trying to figure out what's going on, because now he's just with this Jitty girl, and he's really nice to her. So it's anything weird or whatever. He's actually trying to protect her. He's actually trying to be like, it almost seems like a father figure. So he's really being protective, and she seems to really like him and to respect him. So I don't know why she felt like she had to leave Hilltop and try to go find him. Again, she's in Manhattan, and she's trying to find, I guess somebody or whatever. She finds a bunch of zombies, and she gets tripped by one of them, and she loses her dinosaur again. It's a little, I can't imagine losing you to the zombies. So she's trying to hide from them, and all of a sudden you see like this stranger walking around, looking like she's like picking up trash almost. But she finds, or it's just some random person, but she's with the resistance. So I guess she's just like a scavenger or something. And she's picking up trash or trying to find some stuff, and she finds the dinosaur. And so, again, perfect timing. So then Ginny follows her to the resistance. And once she gets there, or at least this trash lady, she's just like, hey, look at all the cool stuff I got. And so Maggie was just like, I don't know if she noticed or realized what the dinosaur was, but she looked at it like she did. So she goes, can I have that? So she takes the dinosaur, and then she's going to try to burn it. Again, not sure if she does know what the dinosaur is or who it's from or whatever, but she looks at it and just goes, she tries to take it, so she puts it into a can. She's about to burn it, and that's when Ginny shows up. She's like hiding behind a car. She sees what she's about to do. And then again, show ends or whatever. I'm just like, okay. Again, not a whole lot that happened in this episode. It's just kind of weird of what's going on with certain characters. So again, I don't know if Maggie does know this is Ginny's dinosaur or whatever, but so now that I don't know what's going to happen. Croy might actually just like this Marshall guy, and now that he knows that he's after Negan, might have him team up with him or something or whatever. They keep calling this area like this New Babylon. So I'm assuming New Babylon is supposed to be, I guess, the whole new world after the Commonwealth, because they talked about Oceanside and some other places that are, they still do trades. They still talk to people. They still say, hey, Ginny's from here, and so-and-so's from Oceanside, and blah, blah, blah's from, So there's still, this new area is, again, this is supposed to be, again, New Babylon, maybe a new society or something, because it starts off with Maggie going into a bar, to find out where she couldn't find Negan. So I'm assuming this New Babylon is some kind of new society or whatever. And the marshals are obviously the, I guess, judge, jury, and executioner people who are trying to maintain the peace in this new world or whatever. So don't know why they're after Negan, the marshals. But it's getting pretty interesting. So again, this is only episode 3. I'm not exactly sure how long this series is. I have a bad feeling it's going to be like one of those mini series. It's just going to be like 6 episodes. So I have a feeling the next 3 should be like the main, like, oh my goodness, here we go. But we'll see. So yeah, that's what happened on episode 3. And, stick around and we'll find out what happened on episode 4. All right, I'm Pro Digit Trip. Catch you later.